realistically, like, they haven't played actually that much Nuke. And when they have played it, it's been fairly close.
Even against Spirit, they barely sort of scraped it over the line, but all of these teams are a little bit better than eUnited, in my opinion. Utility expanded in towards uppers, and it's a quick one out ramp room, and some sharp shots coming out from these NA boys.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of how Boots started off with their pistol round in the first half of that last game. But Forest chimes back in with one straight away on that USP. Cooper's head goes flying off. Now we need to see that retake attempt be put on forward from NiP, and that very quickly is, I guess, thrown back in the toilet by eUnited. A few quick headshots out of the Glocks, and that is going to be the end of NiP, bar Dennis, who we know is a good pistol player. But against 3, in a post-plant situation like this, I don't have a lot of faith, unfortunately. Even with the defuse kit, the time is really running out here, and eUnited will finish things off as Dennis tries to pick the pace up. So good start to the map for eUnited.
That's what you want to see from them. I would assume that this eUnited team, you know, being your classic bunch of young NA strapping young lads, is definitely going to be a momentum-based team. If you're going to see an upset from them in this matchup in particular, you're going to need to see them string a lot of rounds together in quick succession and really get their aim in and get their confidence flowing. Everyone's high-fiving each other, saying let's go after every single round, even if they lose.
Force bite straight in from NiP. So we'll see what kind of impact they're going to be able to have. Once again, Lecro just gets absolutely demolished on ramp room. I mean, that is not a good feeling at all. You know, you're holding your line 2 rounds in a row. Your head just gets absolutely banged off.
100%. Forrest has found
That's cheeky.
Nice little corner. Doesn't quite double up. Bomb goes down for eUnited. No kits on the side of Ninjas in Pajamas. I imagine this is just a question of damage at this point.
Get Right has a chance here, but the CZ shots do go a little awry, spraying all around Mark, but not quite managing to actually finish him off. And now again, time is starting to run out. You know, where if you thought that there was a chance for NiP when the bomb went down, now there probably isn't a chance anymore, and it becomes more a case of saving these deagles, saving the scout. Oh, I guess there's a MAC-10 there as well, so a few things being picked up here by NiP that are going to be saved through. The Molotov as well. I mean, it's not an awful round, actually, for NiP. Sure, you expect to lose it, but they at least have another chance, actually, in the next round now that they've managed to save these guns through.
100%. With this kind of weaponry as well, I'd love to see them go for a bit of a lobby crunch or something like that. They were going to save in this round anyway. I like the approach of force buying on Nuke. It really reminds me of the CT side of Inferno, where there's no real point going into the second round of the half or the first gun round with just, you know, like your M4s and limited utility. You really do want that AWP and some utility in terms of the Molotovs and the smokes and stuff like that to be able to stop rushes coming out from the T side and be able to fight the utility game, as it were. All the smokes coming out towards outside for eUnited, and they will be making their way down in towards secrets. Rez does exchange damage back and forth with Cooper. But apart from that, fairly unexciting stuff. Dennis has made his way in towards lower, and he's going to throw out that smoke, I think, onto the choke point near secret. He will indeed. So that's going to slow eUnited down a little bit.
It's not a particularly fun angle for Dennis to be playing with a MAC-10 there. Like, the chances of you being able to spray down 1 or 2 is fairly unlikely, but he does start to creep further forward. And that Molotov that I talked about from last round, again, now gets thrown out by NiP. Pixel angle from Rez. If he would have waited another half second, he might have been able to get the headshot there. But in fact, actually, it's a nice body shot onto Vanity. This is looking okay, actually, for NiP. Rez is fairly low on HP, but he's actually doing some damage. And now Forrest gets involved with the Deagle, and all of a sudden the round falls apart for eUnited. Forrest needs one more. In fact, it'll be Lecro to finish it off. But that is how you win an anti-eco as the ecoing team.
It's not fair, man. Like, Forrest and Get Right, they in 2012 and 2013, half of these eUnited players probably hadn't even loaded up their computer. Yeah, they hadn't even installed Counter-Strike yet. And they just make absolutely mincemeat of them. 2 veterans in towards the upper bomb site, and that's terrible for eUnited. That's going to completely break their economy. 2 AKs, you got some MAC-10s and a Deagle, but that's about it for eUnited. So if they do lose this round, they're going to be on the save, and eUnited and your boys over on NiP going to be off to a good start. Here comes the Annex split, but shut down immediately by Rez from Garage.
Yeah, the rest of the players are going to be shut down quite quickly from Forrest on the A site as well. Dennis gets Moose. I mean, there isn't much to that round, is there, for eUnited? Unfortunately, they just walked in the wrong angles. NiP had them covered.
The thing is, they kind of get, by the amount of money that they had after losing against that eco, they kind of get pigeonholed into a strat like that. They just don't have the utility to be able to play into the late round a lot of the time unless they're going to sit and do nothing or hold angles or just take those sort of shaky sort of aim duels in towards the ramp where two Ts just sort of edge out there and go, well, I hope I really get this trade before old mate blows my head off and falls off and we're in a 4-on-5. Those are really your only options. It's a faster play or just some loosey-goosey kind of slow T-side play, which going up against NiP with how sharp they're looking, it's probably not likely to work.
It's definitely looking sharp from NiP. I mean, obviously, with the rifling, but also the utility usage that we have seen from NiP thus far, like literally almost, I'd say every single Molotov that I've seen thrown has either stopped eUnited in their tracks or forced them out of their position, or, you know, it's having an impact.
Well, you said it. I think we're seeing a bit of the choc chip NiP, and honestly, when I look at their logo, that could definitely be some kind of a chop chip swirl kind of deal going on.
Yeah, I guess in a roundabouts kind of a way. Abstract. It's an abstract chop chip cookie.
Yep. Right. Well, that is a very easy cleanup for your boys over on NiP. Their economy is absolutely balling out of control. They're rolling straight up to the club and they're buying bottles for everyone. Over on the side of eUnited, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of the money. After losing that force buy, they very much have been in the bin. And although they did get the pistol, and they won against that first sort of force buy with that lowers play. After that, nothing's really been going their way, and if they want to come back into this half, they're going to have to break down this economy that NiP has built, which is very strong at this point.
Well, Vanity going to be taking a peek into Secret. He does get across fairly cleanly.
Yep, and the rest of the lads going to go for a contact in towards the ramp room. They will have Lecro to be able to deal with, whereas
he's not going to expect
no
this.
idea.
Vanity
What a
was
spot.
very quick. All right, 4v5. It's the first time we've actually seen eUnited start off in the gun round with a player advantage, but that is very quickly going to be ripped away. Forrest, he can't quite get all three, but he has done enough. And now Vanity, the player that opened it up so nicely for eUnited, has a difficult clutch to make work, doesn't know that Dennis is around the side, and that is going to be around on the board for NiP. For all the good work that happened early in the round for eUnited, it was essentially for naught.
Yep, now eUnited firmly in the bottom of the bin. They have to take the save. Ninjas in Pyjamas have got so much cash at this point. Dear Lord. They're never going to have to think about their economy for the rest of the half. Good opening to the round with the pace that Vanity really set in towards that outers area. But after that point, I mean, dear Lord, Forrest is looking fearsome in this match.
Oh, that's a Molotov that's gone awry. Forrest, he's burning alive, but he gets away with his life and Vanity's as well to boot. It's the perfect start for NiP in the round. Couldn't have asked for much more. Admittedly, there was a little bit invested there by eUnited, so you want to see them come out of this round with at least some damage, and they're going to get that. Barky finding res. And Get Right now going to be under pressure as well, as Outer is dirty. He can't get the reload off. And all of a sudden, eUnited have a player advantage. Forrest once again steps up. A nice headshot, keeps himself alive. And that buys the time for Lecro to get in a strong position here in lobby. So we start to see NiP take control of the map. Dennis wins an important aim duel on Outer. Lecro just gets the timing there onto Moose. So it was potentially a dangerous round there actually for NiP, but some timing went their way, some good shots out from Forrest, and they've kept themselves in the round just long enough that it started to tip the scales back.
But unfortunately, Marky is the only thing that stands between NiP and getting their 5th round on the board. They have taken a few losses, but at this point when their economy is absolutely flourishing, I don't think they're going to be too upset about that. Bomb dropped in towards Squeaky, and with 30 seconds to go, I don't think Marky's going to have a very good run at things. He does find Lecro is a high HP player.
Still has to collect the bomb, still has to plant the bomb. He doesn't have a lot of time to work with, so he really can't clear much out on the A bomb side here. Needs to get a wriggle on. Still playing quite slowly, but I guess at this point he's just going to try and commit to taking some guns away. He's not going to get the bomb down here, surely.
Yeah, that fake pretty much seals it, unfortunately.
Indeed it does. Forrest, another great round out from him. 3 kills. Look at the money that the NiP guys are at. 1,600 there for Dennis. Over 10k for Get Right and Forrest.
So here we go. First full gun round versus gun round that we've really seen AWP over on the side of Cooper, which he won't really have anybody to contest him in that sort of department ever since Draken's taken a step back from the team and Dennis is indeed back for this event as well as Pro League. So that could be a potential opening for United to take on advantage of that orbital. Nice nades over onto Vanity on the silo. Absolutely railed the man. He is down to 38 HP. You do see Moose trying to sneak out towards the squeaky door area, but Forest seems very well aware this could be a possibility. That is pretty sus smoke.
Gets the shot on the Moose as well through the vent. Doesn't actually finish him off, but it's some nice damage.
Bit of a tap in the head and Moose just retreats back into the lobby crying.
Yeah, I like that United putting a bit more pressure on Outer here. I think that you'd be pretty scared heading in toward the A site with the form that Forest is showing right now in this game. United need to kind of find their advantages somewhere else.
Yep, so like you said, it's just very light pressure on Outer. They're very much holding angles, waiting for something to happen, also holding in the lobby, but nothing is happening. NiP's not giving them anything to work with. Rez very much tucked into the back of the warehouse. Lekro just holding that off angle in towards lower. It's really going to force NiP's hand, and or eUnited's hand, and as soon as they do, it gets slapped away by Rez, and he's not going to overextend either. So eUnited really just feels like they're waiting around for nothing to happen, and as soon as nothing does happen, they're forced to do something, and then NiP very easily deals with whatever that is.
I mean, the best part, I think, for NiP here is, like, sure, Forest is going absolutely bananas on the A-bomb side, but Rez is holding down Outer with, you know, no problems at all, actually. So it seems like wherever you go as a United right now, you're kind of out of the frying pan into the fire, in a sense. Haven't really seen them put much pressure on to ramp outside of the pistols. This round not going to go too nicely for them at all. Cooper, the last one left alive. But it just seems like wherever eUnited is trying to run, wherever they're trying to push, they're kind of running into a brick wall.
100%. NiP is looking so scary, and if they're able to continue this forward to the rest of the tournament, then you have to say, with the kind of field that we're seeing at this tournament in particular, there's someone that you can't really count out.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, NiP certainly wouldn't be up in, like, maybe the top 4 out of this particular event, but they probably would be sitting around like 5, maybe 6, depending on what your opinions are on certain other teams.
Yeah.
I mean, you've definitely got Liquid, right? You've got FaZe.
Mass Sports are off to a bit of a shaky start to the tournament as well, so...
I mean, Renegade's definitely in that argument, and then it kind of depends on how, like, MIBR and NiP play as to where you sort of situate all the other teams.
Yep.
So there definitely is a door open for, like, the majority of even, like, the middle of the pack to have deep runs in this tournament if some of these higher tier teams aren't having the performances that you expect or hope from them.
100%. There's a 1-for-1, but unfortunately the buy's not very good for United. It is just the Scouts and Deagles trying to do damage to this economy of NiP, which I'm not really sure it's really worth the investment at this point, because NiP, they have got cash for days, like we've been saying every time. Vanity hasn't been able to make this AWP really work for him thus far.
Well, just the one pick, which is definitely not enough. Like, it's a nice start for eUnited, but you need to see more. Rez does get across, courtesy of some utility from his mate. That's worked out very nicely indeed for NiP. Markey going down. 4v2. 45 seconds still on the clock, though, for eUnited. It feels like this round has gone forever. And I think that is partly, in fact, due to NiP winning rounds so quickly thus far.
It kind of feels like eUnited, they're just... all the time, they're just waiting for something to happen. They haven't made any decisive moves on this T side whatsoever, and every single time that they sort of what seems like hesitantly try to make a move onto some part of the map, NiP just absolutely destroys them. That's just what it feels like at this point. Like, eUnited, they haven't shown me anything impressive since flying out of the gates on that pistol round.
Yeah, and again, that sort of harks back to Boot as well, where they won both the pistol rounds, but they weren't really able to do a whole lot past that, which is going to be an unfortunate scenario for eUnited if they end up going the same direction as Boot did, because, well, that means they're headed into the lower bracket, and NiP will progress on forward. Definitely seems as though NiP want to put their best foot forward in this particular tournament. I mean, there certainly is questions around NiP, right? So a really deep run or even a win here, if I were to entertain such ideals for NiP, would be, I think, a big deal.
I mean, you look at their first tournament back in the Pro League where they had FaZe, Devils 1 and Heroic in their group. They finished 4th in that group. They lost to Devils 1. They lost a map to Heroic and lost a lot of rounds as well.
Well, Lecro just gets smashed by Marky, but Dennis is still holding on the angle here with the AWP. He's going to be traded out.
So first positive signs we've seen so far for eUnited, but GetRight's making up for it.
Yeah, he certainly is. That's the problem as well for eUnited. Like, when you get an opening against NiP, there's just such a wealth of talent that's remaining that they're going to be able to clean you up with. You know, we haven't actually seen that much from GetRight so far in this game, and he hasn't needed to do anything.
I mean,
And the other thing is,
they haven't even run into Forest yet.
That's right, Forrest is still alive in this round, and he's been the one that's just been absolutely popping off.
Which is probably why it's going so well for them.
Yeah, I guess. What can Cooper and Vanity do? Because those two guys, I mean, this is almost a must-win round for eUnited. Like, you need to stop the bleed at some point. And this is their best chance at 2v2. It's not like the round has just fallen by the wayside straight away. NiP won't be able to deny the bomb plant here, so we're actually setting ourselves in a position for eUnited to win the round. It's going to be a safe plant from Cooper, but if he goes into decon, it won't be too bad for him.
Rez is in the windows. Forrest's going to make his way down that megaton area, and in these post plants, that could work very, very well for eUnited.
Well, Rez is actually going to commit to that fight and will be taken down by Cooper. But Forrest, look at that, 13-3 right now. He's going to try and make it 15-3. He seems to know exactly where Cooper is, who misses the shot, and Forrest is going to get the 2v1. Of course he is. Who could have doubted it? The form that he is in right now in this map is absolutely unstoppable. And NiP, much the same.
He's capped out his money as well, 60k. They can't give him any money for that clutch anymore because it's just not fair at this point.
Just give it over to someone else. Lecro needs a bit of a hand.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Well, 15-3 is one way to start off an IEM tournament.
As eUnited, as the underdog in this matchup, you are pretty much demoralized at this point. You know, that was your best chance to be able to get around on the board, and even then, you're probably not feeling confident coming away with that round. But the fact that you're not even able to make that one work, I have very, very slim hopes for their chances in this game.
Yeah, it's just, again, one of those rounds that you have to win. And they weren't quite able to. Rez just, again, locking down Outer from Warehouse. It is a 1-for-1, which is the best case scenario, really, for eUnited thus far on Outer. But they still have to deal with Forest on A, and they just cannot manage to do it. I don't know, maybe they need some dragons, you know, bit of Dracaris going on in here if we're going to continue with the Game of Thrones line.
I mean, you did say he was on fire earlier,
Burn
but he was
down the
still
forest.
fine.
Someone do something. Someone get an axe. It's not happening right now, though, for eUnited. But, with that said, into the 2v2. They've got the bomb down on B.
Yeah, this is actually a very winnable round for eUnited.
Let's see what GetRight can do here. It does get across. Cooper will be aware of that. But Dennis, very quick out of the vent, smashes Cooper in the face, who was on very low HP to begin with. And now just Food left alive. And unfortunately, for eUnited, this one, once again, is going to go the way of NiP.
Yeah, Food is something I need a little bit of, but unfortunately, he's not here. And the server are out of it. And NiP, they just seem absolutely unstoppable at this point. 17-4 for Forest. Doesn't matter who eUnited find a duel with, they're just getting absolutely banged out of the server. And when they're not able to win those 2-on-2s, those 2-on-1s scenarios, then like that's just going to completely shatter their confidence.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think the confidence, if it was there, is definitely gone.
I've been there as a player, and there's certain things that you need to be able to complete an upset, and losing those kind of rounds and getting completely wrecked out of the server, there's like no way they're going to be able to win this game. It's going to have to take some ridiculous stuff for eUnited to be able to come away with this one.
Well, this is a better looking round for eUnited thus far. Dennis and Rez both going out pretty early in the round. That gives a lot of time for eUnited to work with here. Admittedly, they don't have too much utility to play with, but they have time and they have the player advantage as well.
So it's a 4-on-3 for eUnited. They do have your boy Marky just holding on towards the secret area, which is a decent bit of map control. And the rest of eUnited, they're just waiting for pushes in towards this ramp or hut area, which is something you will see the CTs often do when they're down a man. Boris is just in towards Annex. He's not actually in towards Outer, is he?
Yeah, he's in Annex. Or he was in Annex just before.
So with no one pushing, the response is going to be for eUnited. You see Marky is starting to get a little bit more interested in this secret area, but Forrest just walks in straight behind him and bangs his head off, which is going to force eUnited straight out of this squeaky area in towards GetRight.
That said, it is just GetRight for now. GetRight is going to be able to do enough. Forrest coming around from Annex should clean up at least one, maybe even both. And exactly as expected, Forest, he just is not missing right now. Someone stop this guy.
There's really nothing else to say. Unfortunately, that was eUnited again. Like last 3 rounds in a row, they had chances to be able to get some T rounds on the board, but they're not taking advantage of any of them. They're rushing things far too much. They're taking duels 1v1, and you know it's a classic problem for these underdogs from many regions, NA, SEA, and stuff like that. They just don't have the reps, and they don't play these rounds out properly in the late round.
I think Forrest saw that video that's been playing recently on the ESL streams. I think I can't go 20-4 in my first game at IEM Sydney. Watch this. Oh, well, okay, Lekro's not having a great time on ramp, but Dennis certainly is. 3-man spray down from him with the AUG. That's enough to tip the scales once again back to NiP. Rez won't be able to do too much though, as the Mac-10 that fell over to Moose, or was in his hands at least, has an impact. So from what was a kind of decent start for NiP, we're suddenly in a round that actually eUnited may well be able to clutch, but we've sort of time and time said that already, and it hasn't eventuated. It's always been NiP that have won the clutches.
Well, Forrest, he has actually cleared out this ramp room, which is going to allow Get Right to make his way up heaven before eUnited can potentially make their way through lobby. If they're going towards uppers, which they are, then this is going to go very badly for them, unfortunately. Forrest is behind them, Get Right's on top of them. No one's under them, so that's one thing.
Oh, this grenade will do a little damage to Moose. Actually, quite significant amount of damage. Very nice indeed. And Forrest, he doesn't miss those. Vanity has been dropped, and Moose very quickly falls to Get Right as well. 11-2. It just could not be going any better for NiP at this point.
Absolutely not. No, United. It's a lot of cash for the lads. 6+ K across the board, but if they're not converting it into any round wins, then it doesn't really matter. NiP, since winning that 4 spy, have just had all of the money on the board, been able to buy anything that they wanted. Now comes the AWP, which is actually on Lekro, I would imagine, towards ramp room, which is actually a pretty good shout, I would say, considering the fact that eUnited are getting shut down in many other parts of the map, and often they do just contact towards ramp room in the late round every single time once they're out of options. If Lekro's posted up with an AWP there, that could be the difference maker. Speaking of difference makers, they are just going to send your boy straight down vent. Moose. So that could actually make a difference here for eUnited in this round.
He does cop a bit of damage. Lekro's going to go searching for him, but he's very, very quick into control room. I don't know that Lekro's going to expect him this close. But he's being very safe right now. Lekro taking a peek. Look at this. Neither player actually knows the other is there. But sooner or later, someone's going to spot something. It's all a game of timing. Not much else going on for eUnited right now. They've got a few smokes going on to outer. Might try and sneak another player across into secret, or perhaps the entire team. Lekro eventually does push, and the patience of Moose is rewarded. No one's going to go down as they cross through the smoke. It's a 1-for-1 all in all, though, as Dennis does eventually get Moose. But again, it's another reasonable start to the round for eUnited.
It's a great position from them, but they haven't cleaned Dennis out of this dark area. It looks like eUnited are probably going to make their way back up the vent in towards upper, and Get Right's in a great position. Let's get cleaned out for nothing, though, so this is eUnited's best opportunity so far.
Yeah, nobody else on the A bomb site, and the bomb is going to go down really quickly as well. So this is the best chance for eUnited. Well, maybe they can make it back to 11-3, and maybe from further there, 11-4. It's still not a great scoreline, but at least it would be something to play with. Rez goes down as well to make the job even more difficult here for Dennis and Forrest. Time is of the essence. Cooper is going to maybe get timed here indeed by Dennis, but does actually manage to get rid of Forrest before the fact, and that is one of the first rounds in a long time on the board for eUnited. 11-3. Yeah, there's so much money here though for NiP that they're going to just buy straight back into it. The job does not get easier for eUnited at the end of the half.
Yeah, so there's not much of a difference between the 11-3 and 12-4 sort of score lines. It's very, very dangerous territory for eUnited regardless of where we end up. But a 4th round on the board would really secure them an extra opportunity to go through after match point or something like that. If NiP do lose this round and then win the pistol, they'd be at 14 instead of 15. However, I don't really think it's much of a difference. Nice flash one out as sets Vanity up, but unfortunately Dennis just bangs his head off. That's the man disadvantage. Traded back by Marky, who can't unfortunately get that So in a 4-on-3, unless Moose is able to actually find an angle on to get right on top of Hut, this is looking bad for eUnited.
He's got the alligator snapping away at Moose, but actually doesn't catch his prey. In a 3v3, Rez will go down as well. Cooper starting to get it going with the AWP at the moment. And it's on to Dennis now in the 1v3, which he does turn into a 1v2 quite quickly. Knows that Moose is close. The smoke down keeps him alive up against Cooper. Imagine if that shot would have hit. Now Dennis does definitely know where Cooper is, and he's got all the time in the world to play wherever he wants.
Bombs dropped in the favor of Dennis though, so unless Cooper can make this CZ work, then this round's going to go the way of NiP, but it's going to be a matter of timing, as it always is in these 1v1s, particularly on Nuke. So many options and angles for either player to be able to catch the other off guard with. But Dennis is just going to do the safe thing. He's going to tuck himself into a close corner. I would be surprised if Cooper didn't check this.
Well, Dennis is going to check as well, so that's 12-3. First half done and dusted. We'll be back after the break.
Dreaming big and aiming high. Name the clouds passing by. Wishing we run away. All we need is our passports, baby. Leave the rest in our troubled minds. Let us go down in laughter, baby. Trying to figure out what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. Baby, leave it all for the faded hearts. I don't mind if they call us crazy, 'cause they don't understand what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after.
Intel Extreme Masters Sydney is brought to you in part by ESL, Intel, Acer Predator, and Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel.
Hope everyone in the chat is an NiP fan, because right now it definitely pays to be one. They are looking fantastic here on Nuke. Forest is on fire, and in the metaphorical sense, which would be good, as opposed to a forest fire, which would be bad. Everything's looking fantastic right now for NiP, isn't it?
I think so, and I really hope that NiP still has a good editor hide, because there is definitely some good material in there for a Forest Frag movie to be created once this map's over. Let's see if he's able to put some more clips into the file for the man. United, 4 armors across the board, just Vanity with the smoke kit over on the side of NiP, just holding on to this lobby area. Lekro does have the smoke and the flash, and they have sort of faked the fact that they may have pushed down the vent. Potentially to keep eUnited guessing about what's actually happening, but is a 3 stacking towards the upper bomb site, other 2 over towards ramp, and here comes the push for NiP.
Yeah, nice little execute smoke into Annex, keeps them alive from that angle. Marky, though, is putting in some work, but not quite enough. Trades are good for NiP, and Food on his own, 1v2. We've seen how these go. NiP in the 1v2s have not skipped a beat at all, and that's 13 up.
Now United, unfortunately, in a very dire situation. They've lost the second half pistol after being down 12-3. Literally the worst case scenario to be put in. Would like to see them go for the force here personally, but they are looking like they want to save.
Yeah, well, it's sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because it really doesn't feel like NiP is going to be skipping a beat at all today. So, sure, you could force in and try and do something there, but I just don't see it happening against NiP. If you save, yeah, I guess debatably you get a better buy, but even then I don't feel like it's going to make much of a difference. NiP have been unstoppable, really. I mean, initially it was Forest, now it's Dennis. We've seen good stuff out of Get Right as well. Rez. Lecro's been a little quiet, but he was holding on ramp, and there wasn't that much action going on over there on the CT side for NiP, so maybe second half is his opportunity. I mean, already this round starting off nicely with Get Right finding the opening frag. Cooper won't last too long here. He gets a bit of damage in, but it's Marky the only one that's actually making anything happen with the pistols right now for eUnited, and that just simply isn't enough.
Definitely not. eUnited look like they're setting up for the exits though. If they're able to get any. NiP didn't have any money woes in the last half, and so far looking like they're not going to in this half either.
Nope. Moose with 20 HP. And a dream.
I think the dream's well and truly over at this point, unfortunately.
Has it turned into a nightmare?
Your worst nightmare, perhaps,
Yeah.
some would say.
Nightmares in pajamas. That sounds a little bit creepy.
Yeah, look, honestly, not the best team name in general that I've ever seen. It's crazy that they actually turned that into one of the biggest brands in esports with a name like that. I really have to tip my hat to them. But maybe
Yeah,
I'm just a hater.
Maybe you are. I think you are a bit of a hater. Though, I mean, it is definitely more of an outlandish kind of a name when you really think about it. But I suppose anything goes. I think for NiP, where they're going is to
The lower bracket.
the upper bracket. NiP is.
Oh, NiP, sorry, I thought you said
I mean, they may go to the lower bracket in the next game, assuming Renegades wins against MVP. That's going to be the matchup. And Renegades
banger.
Renegades NiP has recently been favouring Renegades.
Yeah, that's true. But NiP is looking pretty sharp today.
Yeah.
There we go. All the smoke's on outside, and they're just going to send Dennis down there. Off he goes. That's going to cause the rotation to come out from Moose. So this will be a pretty important 1v1 to show us who's in lead in this round. And Moose does win it. So there you go. The talking point for for eUnited, but NiP straight out towards this uppers area.
Well, that is not the way that NiP would have wanted the round to go, certainly. First gun round, if you're going to start off in any fashion at a 14-3 deficit, I suppose that's the way that you want it to go.
So good job from eUnited. Moose winning that aim duel really forces NiP. They've invested all that utility and those smokes towards outside to send Dennis down towards Secret to gather information and put pressure on the rotations of the CTs. And when he dies, that's a big, massive dimension to their T-side strategy in that particular round. Absolutely shut down, which forces them into a position where they feel like they haven't got a lot going for them. So they contact in towards the upper bomb site and get shut down. eUnited throw down that utility at the right time. Good positions from the lads.
He's going to take the aim duels on outer, and that's actually worked out. Rez and Forest get one apiece. And already, player advantage is there for NiP. They take the sort of the hero AK buy. Unfortunately, one of the AKs has now been dropped. I don't know how easily retrievable that is going to be. Actually, Get Right does pick it up, so never mind. Still a 3v3, still a winnable round here for NiP.
We do have the secret control courtesy of Forest, who is quite low, and down there Moose is holding the angle on the man. Will actually push. So going to be a pretty critical situation. If Forest does pick Moose here, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the other two CTs and maybe force them to very quickly move into a vulnerable position that the other players on NiP can exploit.
Well, Forrest is going to need to get that one-shot headshot, and he can't quite.
Yeah, the good old crouch into the slide out on the angle.
Yeah.
Not an easy one to be hitting.
Definitely not. So that swings it back in the favour of eUnited now. See NiP just creeping their way toward ramp room. They can get down into the B bomb site. They'll be able to plant the bomb.
You need to
Oh,
pick
no,
up the pace here.
Do actually have to deal with Moose.
The problem is, as is the case every time you go down the ramp, is the CTs, if they have upper control, have a shorter rotation than you do. You know, really, one of the lads is going to drop straight down the vent and quickly be in position. Other player can flank in through Megaton.
Fortunately, the windows in control room are not open either, so Get Right can't take that avenue. And Lecro, he'll try and plant the bomb, relying now on Get Right, but that is not going to be possible. Get Right won't even win the aim battle. Great work from Moose. Well, starting to see a little bit of life for United.
Yeah, signs of life from them, shutting down first gun round and that round where NiP just tried to even up their money by buying up. So that'll put NiP on the eco. This gives an opportunity for United to start to build their money up. And they're going to need it because NiP, with the 14 rounds on the board, are going to give them no room for error. They need to close out these rounds clearly on the side of eUnited because all it's going to take is a little bit of a lack of money, not closing out those rounds clearly enough, and they'll lack that kit or they'll lack that Molotov, and that could be the turning point to winning or losing a round.
Probably not in this round, though. NiP don't have much to work with, if anything, really. It's kind of a game of whack-a-mole there for Moose. Lecro peeks his head up. There's another player up on silo as well. It was Forrest, who actually has survived for now, but where's the rest of his team? Nowhere. 6 up for eUnited. The slow march continues.
All right, so buy round coming out of NiP. Decent buy, you know, not the most fantastic, nothing to write home about, but enough to get the job done in this round in particular. Over on the side of eUnited, we did say. Good stuff from them, closing out both gun rounds, and the anti-eco is going to put their economy in a pretty good spot. Let's see what the approach is going to be from the T side. So far from NiP, it does just look like a standard sort of spread. They're not really throwing any smokes out towards outside just yet. They're going to come in a second here. Dennis walking out towards that T-red area. Wall of smokes being thrown out from the close position, as well as the flashbangs, and NiP just fall back in towards the lobby and send Dennis straight down lower again. This time, Moose is not in position to be able to deal with him. Instead, it is Cooper on the AWP.
That's not an easy angle to deal with. Boot is going to spot one or two crossing there and just back away. The incendiary does go down. So now NiP have taken control of, well, the top of Secret and ramp. Starting to encroach on the map.
Pushing that rotation off is really going to play with eUnited. One of the CTs has to go looking for information at some point. Here we go, ninjas in pajamas creeping out into that lobby area. 3 towards Hut, 1 towards Squeaky. It's only a matter of time, and this is a good crossfire from Vanity and Marky.
It certainly is. Marky, though, has gone down. What can Vanity do? The bomb is dropped, and he gets the second as well. They're all lining up for him. Unfortunately, he lined up as well. And that was Get Right that finished him off. All in all, fairly favourable here for eUnited. Get Right, well, that's going to be a little bit painful. It's like after you had that spicy food in Indonesia, Pilly.
100%. Very similar sort of angle as well.
14-7. United, they continue to progress. I mean, I'm not saying it's doable just yet, but, you know, it's good to see. At least we're getting a bit more of a competitive game on our hands now.
Makes you wonder what would have happened if eUnited won the knife round and started on CT instead of T.
Definitely.
Could have been seeing a completely different game of things.
And a totally different storyline as well.
Yep. Unfortunately, you know, if you ask me how good NiP... ooh, very, very quick one towards uppers, and that's a bit of a messy spray from Marky. What? No one else is there to back him up?
Yeah, that's the problem. They may well actually allow a bomb plan here for NiP, which is about as good as you can expect from a round like this. What more can they do? A bit more damage, maybe? Looks like that's going to be the case. Very clean here from eUnited on the retake. Dennis may well get Moose, and actually doesn't quite land the shot.
So 4 alive, good stuff for United's economy. Very strange sort of a setup there. Surprised that Marky's playing that committed towards the upper site when he's the only one there. Probably better to be sitting in heaven or something like that in a position you can fall back on. But regardless, they do only lose the 1 man, and then they're able to quickly come in for the retake. So it all worked out in the end. Now, pause coming in. I think it's for eUnited. It is a little blue one.
Yeah.
Little blue boy.
Imagine.
Over on the side of NiP, though, kind of feels like a matter of time at this point for them to find the right strategy to be able to come back into this game. But it's good to see these eUnited boys actually step up and show us how good the firepower is and the talent is on some of these players. But they're going to need a little bit better than that. They're going to need to dig really deep to be able to bring this one back. Lekro is actually having a bit of a rough game at this point. So here we go. Heading into the gun round.
Another important one for NiP, but, you know, it's not dire straits just yet. They still have plenty of rounds to play with.
Looks like NiP, they threw those outside smokes and now they're going to be putting pressure on that outside area. Here's 4 of the lads making their way towards that part of the map, as well as just Get Right waiting on top of the lobby area. I think this time they are going to actually put pressure onto Warehouse and towards outside, so Moose is going to have an opportunity to get himself multiple frags if he does take advantage of it.
This is a similar position to what we saw Rez playing, and so far hasn't had the opportunity, but there goes one. It'll be Moose to start off on the Forest.
But Dennis is sneaking his way into heaven, and eUnited might not expect this. Rez locking down the angle from Warehouse. On Warehouse, rather. Moose again, that's the second for him, really shutting down this NiP play towards the outside area. eUnited up 2-man advantage. It's going to take a lot of digging for NiP to come back into this one, but Dennis could be the one to do it, sneaking through the heaven area.
Well, instead he wins the race, maybe for NiP, and Dennis certainly does strike. 2 kills for him, Cooper and Marky going down, but Moose has been so strong, and Vanity, he's going to catch Get Right in the back. All of a sudden, it was a brief moment of hope maybe for NiP there, but that's been very quickly taken away.
That's great stuff from Moose. He's really been the man to shut this down time and time again. He has been stepping up hugely for on the CT side compared to T. So here's the timeout for NiP. The problem with eUnited's comeback at this point is that they have allowed the Ts to get such a huge amount of loss bonus built up at this point, which is going to allow them to just buy back to back to back to back.
Well, I guess that's the benefit of having a big round advantage at the start of the half, even if things start to get a little bit problematic. You've always got money to play with, you've always got opportunities, and it's still not dire straits just yet for NiP, but it's actually starting to look more and more doable here for eUnited. Like, this CT side has been pretty damn good so far.
Would have to agree with you, although it really has kind of felt like individuals locking things down for eUnited as opposed to some kind of genius rotations or outplaying NiP.
Well, if that continues to work, then it might as well. As Vanity is going to have a couple of kills. I mean, Forrest is just going absolutely bananas. Again, this time on the T side, and it's all onto Food now in a 1v2. Lekro just gets shot by his teammate Rez for a little second there. Food is going to try and make things happen. NiP, though, they do have the luxury of time to play with.
Yep, but the bomb is dropped directly under Food, and he has had a bit of a rough performance so far this game. It's his opportunity to step up. He needs to do it for eUnited at this point. Can't afford to be dropping NiP that 15th round. And match point, Lekro going to try to edge out and grab the bomb.
The benefit is that the bomb's not in a great position here for NiP, and Food is going to strike as a result. Now it's on to Rez. He at least knows where Food is, but being able to even put that into the 1v1 has made this so much more winnable now for eUnited in this round. And they're going to need clutches like this if they're going to make this comeback happen. So if they do actually pull this one off, well, then you start to think, okay, what actually can happen here? Does NiP get upset from this point? It's all onto Rez, but Food, not a great angle for him here. Does still win the aim battle.
Absolutely huge. It's going to be the 10th round on the board for eUnited, but the bomb plant for NiP in combination with the huge amount of loss bonus is going to give them anything they want on this T buy round. Unfortunately, it really does feel like eUnited are massively in the driver's seat. NiP compared to the huge CT side, are looking very, very flat on this T side.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. I think we came into this with like Forrest and Dennis sort of around 20, 22 frags each in the first half. And now they're, yeah, like you can see how things have slowed down quite a lot in the second here.
NiP look like they're going to be doing a quick one towards the squeaky door. And towards upper now. Forrest makes it out, but the rest of them get cut off with the utility and straight through the ramp room for the rest of NiP. A lot of pressure on Food here.
Not a great time for the reload, and he does get picked off as a result. Vanity might be able to salvage it as he gets one and puts a lot of damage in onto Dennis as well. So you think how much better that could have been for eUnited if he had bullets in that org. Still, nonetheless, the bomb will go down for NiP, and oh, what a great shot from Cooper. Get Right goes down, and I'm starting to feel this one for eUnited. They're looking really sharp. They're looking fantastic right now. And NiP are relying on, you know, some clutch situations, some big plays maybe from the individuals, because nothing else seems to be working. While Electro, now is his time to step up, because it's been a struggle for him here on Nuke, but the struggles continue. And it's 14-11 now.
I mean, we said in the pre-game that NiP, they look like a completely different team map to map on the same day. In this game, it looks like a completely different team half to half. You know, CT side, they looked unstoppable. On the T side, they look like completely harmless. eUnited just making quick work of them every single time. But you have to say that NiP, they had their opportunities in the last couple of rounds.
Well, attack pause now for NiP. It's a pretty good time for one, right? Things haven't really gotten out of hand just yet, but they certainly are slipping very, very quickly down a fairly dangerous slope.
And you have to say that Lecro having a bit of an underwhelming performance, but also the performance of the team overall on the T side hasn't been too fantastic, and the calls have been looking a little bit lackluster. So that's the man to step up here for NiP, not only in the fragging department, but also in the calling department. Make sure that they can get this game across the line, because eUnited's CT side, it doesn't look like anything special, to be honest. It really just looks like the individuals here for eUnited are making some decent rotations and just cleaning up a lot of NiP who aren't really hitting their shots on this T side now.
Well, maybe that's enough for eUnited.
Well, it's looking like it.
At the moment. It's very, very solid so far on the CT side here for eUnited. They've got the AWP out once again on Cooper, who started to get it going toward the end of the first half, but really in this second half, that's where he's been the absolute machine for eUnited. You've got to look at players like Moose and Food as well, who've stepped up. I think across the board, really, for eUnited, everyone's having a better performance in the second half than they did on the first, that's for sure.
So Food is the only player, I think, towards this lower area, and he's just in the megaton right now. So no one really rotating in towards lower, despite that wall of smoke coming out for NiP, and you do see a lot of players in towards that secret area. So if eUnited don't get control of this vent in time, then this round's just over for them. Utility expended towards lower, and NiP will start to make some ground, and only now, even now, no one from eUnited's in lower. What are they doing? No one's rotated.
Maybe they have confidence that they can retake the bomb site. Who knows what the case is here for eUnited, but they may well still be able to make it work. Who are we to doubt them at this point?
Lower bomb site, one of the more difficult ones to be retaking for eUnited. NiP, they have Windows control, they have decon. The only thing they don't have is someone just sitting in that end.
Oh, well, that's a 2-for-1. That's good enough for eUnited to swing things back in their favour. Great work from the two players on ramp, Moose and Food.
How come NiP hasn't got the bomb down this entire time? They're only just putting it down now in the 4-on-3.
It was a very, very slow sort of a round out from NiP, as well as obviously from eUnited. I mean, you saw how NiP was trying to methodically work their way through, just shift walking everywhere, but now they need to hold off. What a massive stack from eUnited. And Forrest, he had a chance to win the round there if he sprays a few down, but Cooper just absolutely smacks him in the face. And now a 3v2. Marky wins another aim duel, and it's a 2v1 for Rez to deal with. His position is known. With that said, though, the bomb timer is favouring him, but the defuse is on, and he won't be able to stop this one. Round is going to go the way of eUnited, and they keep the two guns alive as well. 12 is up, and NiP, this is where they start quaking in their boots.
Dear Lord. NiP, very, very hesitant to be putting the bomb down in that scenario. I guess they were very scared of the fact that they didn't have megaton control, which probably explains why those two players actually ran out towards the ramp room. But unfortunately, that was their undoing at that point. They had control of Windows and Decon. They, had made their way through secret events. They knew exactly where the CTs could and couldn't be at that point. I would have just really liked to see them just put the bomb down and hold those angles and force eUnited to come to them. But unfortunately, they run into that crossfire at ramp. And then from that point, eUnited is able to complete the retake.
I wonder how much further this can go. Can eUnited really finish it off? It's not a good start in this round. Get Right does get the first.
Yep, sprays him straight through the smoke, which I kind of feel like is the first massive advantage NiP have had on this
Oh, how does he
side.
win that? Cooper. He was on 1 HP, but it's in a 2v4 now, and these remaining eUnited players are going to have to do something pretty magical indeed. That does not seem to be something that's going to occur. It's 15's up now for NiP, and it's match point.
Of course, the round that they win just looks easy as hell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess
Smash
there's that when
everyone out of the server.
NiP gets 3 entries. Oh, rather, Get Right. It gets 3 entries.
The man went absolutely ballistic out the squeaky door there. Unfortunately, that's not a really hugely convincing sign for NiP's depth on this T side because they've been getting shut down everywhere else. It really just was a massive individual performance. Get Right stepping up and getting NiP around on the board.
Yeah.
Which you have to say, from some of these players, is something that you'd expect. Over on the side of eUnited, they're actually starting to run out of cash a little bit. Are pretty broke. Over on the side of NiP, 2+K plus the massive loss bonus that they've still got built up. Remember, this is a new money system. So at this point, they've still got plenty of loss bonus coming in. It doesn't get reset back down to 1. They will still be able to buy out the rest of this half in regulation over on the side of eUnited. If they win these rounds, they can't afford to let them come down to close sort of scenarios, or you won't be seeing this many orgs and the AWP and all the utility coming out from them in the following gun rounds. Sending Cooper down, lowers very, very quickly in this round in particular to try to make a difference, maybe find a pick towards that outside area over on the side of NiP. Same sort of default we've seen from them, sending Dennis across towards that secret area, but that second smoke hasn't actually been put in the correct position. So Dennis won't be able to make it across, and he does get picked by Cooper as a result. Excellent start for eUnited.
Is overtime reality? Certainly a possibility at this point. eUnited putting in the hard yards on the CT side. Vanity just crouching behind the boxes. He's got the help of Markey up on top of Hyman. What is going on? Vanity just gets all of them. Well, oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not so sure about this yet. I'm not sure.
The same thing happened from NiP. As soon as Dennis gets picked on outers, the rest of them are just grouped up in towards lobby, and they just say, well, we've lost our secret player. We've lost the main thing that we've invested so much utility in setting up. Let's just contact in towards that upper. And again, eUnited just shut it down with absolute ease. NiP, they don't switch it up at all. They don't even go towards ramp room, which you have to say is where Food is playing, is having a bit of a lackluster performance. They just go back to the same thing, contact in towards that upper bomb site, and they get absolutely banged out of the server.
Yeah, Vanity just having a great round there. And Cooper again has started off this time. Once more, it is Dennis that gets picked on outer. Look at the way that this round is going. It seems to be similar to the last, although Rez does have himself an AWP to take a look at outer. But I don't know, I feel as though eUnited can actually make this one to the overtime. And then from there, it's kind of like anyone's game.
100%. 4-on-5 situation for NiP, but there you go. Forrest, he's been a bit quiet since that CT side. Quick headshot from him puts it into a 4-on-4, which should probably favour NiP. But you have to say that on this T side, they have very much lacked for some good calls.
Oh, that hurts. He's fallen off silo. He's lost half his HP.
Unfortunate. Over on the side of eUnited, one player towards ramp, and then just the AWPer of Cooper swinging between outside and elbow. The other two players stacked up in this upper bomb site. So NiP, they do get any control of secret. This round is pretty much theirs for the taking, considering as long as they don't make mistakes in towards upper or ramp room.
So I'm just going to go down there on ramp. Rez starting to come in here from Annex. Markey only able to get one. Legro 2 entries, and this might well be it. eUnited, they've had a strong fight, but it's not going to be enough, unfortunately, for them. NiP